I'd say about a NAVI team that the one theme that kind of carries across all players when you look across the whole stage has been consistency. And that's not all to say they haven't had good or bad games. You know, they lost heavily to outsiders, came and beat Heroic and stomped them the following week. It's been very up and down. But when you look across all the players, they're all very close in rating, very close in KD. I think they're like +2 is their highest player on KD. I think that's Nath. And the lowest is like -3 or something like that. It is ludicrously close. You look at Rogue, Cryin is like far and ahead, like +20. He's up there with the top 5 for a number of different metrics here in the league. And Rips is very far below the mark of any player on NAVI. So all things being broken even, these two teams are actually arguably a lot closer than you think. And I honestly think today will come down mainly to gunfights. We've had that a lot in the first couple of games, lots of clutches. Why not make it a third in a row and keep this game all about the clutches as well? And I love those bans, by the way, Tim, especially that last one.
Well, up to the last one, somebody had hit the bank default bans, but
they had.
We just had everything as normal, knock, barn, a mirror, no problem, and then bang, we get slapped with a castle ban. Now then, castle is an operator that you might be looking at thinking, why are we seeing a castle ban? It's castle. The castle's been getting used a lot more recently, especially since we had that update where he has 4 panels instead of 3. 1 or 2 maps, border particularly, got tweaked and there was a few new places you could place the castles. And he's been a lot more popular ever since, and we're going to see him taken out this time because particularly on this map, what you're looking at, if you're thinking, Ace, where would they have used the castle? Well, particularly a lot of teams have been using it when they're on a basement defence to hold down the current site. They've been trying to hold on to opening staff, they'll castle it all off. They'll try and just sort of cocoon themselves in there and just stay safe for as long as they can and then drop away to site. And so Castle's been a big part of doing that. And this time, choosing, let's get rid of Castle. Let's not have to put up with that.
Well, I think it was 2, maybe 3 Playdays ago, we were casting this map, and I forget if it was in APAC North or in EWAL. They all kind of blur into one at this point, Tim. But we saw a castle ban there, and we theorised and said we don't think we'll see them play on the upstairs as much, because you can't castle barricade off the 2 big north-facing windows that block sight from the 2 windows on the rappel. So you thought, okay, they'll avoid it. But instead what they did was play onto it and bring really heavy utility ops. You saw a lot of things like Maestro, bulletproof cameras, a little bit of Echo. NAVI are kind of going for a similar sort of playbook here and banning away the Echo and putting lots of utility on the board. Yes, we're not on that top floor, but instead they're relying on, rather than trying to lock down areas to move through, they're trying to make sure they know that they're safe to move through by having the information scattered around the map to give them that information. So really curious to see how they opt to play it themselves in the later rounds.
Now then, we've got Thunder up on the top floor. He's playing the Oryx and he's going to be on the roam. They're going to want to keep hold of this top floor for as long as possible. And interestingly, he's got Blur down by in Archives, looking out of the... Whoa, with the heartbeat scanner, he's overstayed, he's welcome. Cryin gets the opener onto Thunder, shutting down the man. He was getting information fed in from Blur as to exactly where that push was coming. And they've played them like a fiddle there of Rogue. They've just got him to drop back down onto the main stairs underneath Cryin. Beautiful pickup from him to start things off, and that's going to be a strong start. Cryin on the Finker, continuing to go well. We've commented about how well he's doing and how improved he is within EUL, and you love to see it continuing for him. I'm sure there's going to be plenty more from him to come inside of this game. We're going to have hatches getting opened up already. Rogue lightning quick here so far.
Doing well to get themselves the control they need, absolutely, and carrying on with that. And in case you're wondering, oh, Zero, that's a bit of a different one. When we see Habana banned away on this map, which used to be Navi's old bread and butter ban, I remember asking Doki about it. He was like, look, 5 hatches, ban Habana, just make their life hell. That used to be the thing Navi would do. Here it's kind of gone the other way, and instead it's Rogue banning it away and instead bringing along those hard breach charges. You see it on the Ying sometimes, you've seen it on the Capitao. It gives a lot of options to Rogue, but right now they're also trying to double down on their own utility because they've got the Jackal and they've got this Zero coming along at the same time. So kind of trying to match Navi in the intel game. It feels like robot wars scattered throughout the map with how much is going on. But let's see what they can do, because now they've lost that C4. It kind of took some of the steam out of their sails here in a way, Tim. They slowed down a little bit, and as we get towards these final 45 seconds, they've also still got to deal with Secretly, who's lurking in the basement.
Cryin just pushed forward there into Archives, and I'm not sure if Nath was actually located in the office. this? No, he was just on the far side of the wall. It was difficult to gauge with the distance of the silhouette. He's going to drop down underneath, and on the Echo, of course, could be crucial in these final 30 seconds if he's got yokai drones active that are able to deny this plant. Nade comes in. That's going to clear out anybody attempting or trying to clear out the yak, but no, he is going to hit that shot with the impact nade. He's going to take off the exothermic charge, and this could be a little bit difficult for Rogue now. 13 seconds left to go. They need to get themselves inside a sight. They're going to be going up against an Alder, and Kayak is likely to just hold mouse one. Blur, he's going to get himself one onto Leon. Time ticking down, and there goes that Alder. Kayak manages to find himself two. Blur finishes things off, and that's a nice defense from Navi.
Not bad at all, and really probably came down to Kayak there with that first denial onto the exothermic. If that goes off, well, he's probably dead to rights. He gets droned out, he gets naded, he gets swung, whatever it's going to be. But because they left it until the final 5 to 10 seconds, that C4 that got the kill in the mid-round for Navi really slowed things down on the side of Rogue. And they're left trying to piece something together in the dying seconds where the clock's also working against them. They probably should have known that Kayak was going to be tucked in, given they had the impact trick coming in twice from that same position. But clearly just didn't have time in the panic to try and get that diffuser down to be able to win the gunfight. And Navi with a pretty comfortable round one.
But it's just Maestro is absolute most powerful, isn't it? You know where the push is coming from, and they've got 10 seconds
Hold down
to
mouse
do it.
one, win.
You can pretty much, with that Alder, just spray down the rest of the round and get yourself a couple of kills, as they have no choice but to push into the hail of lead that you're sending in their direction. Right. So we're going to move on to round number 2, and it's going to be down to lockers this time. We're going to see that bottom floor site. The question is, will we see any mid or top floor presence? Given that Castle isn't available, are we going to see a slightly more orthodox, I will call it, maybe old school? I won't go that far yet. It's not that old school, but the older style of just turtling up everybody on site and try to hold on to it. Don't worry about opening staff.
And they're really doubling down on this Chanka and Smoke. And you and I had a good discussion a couple of weeks ago about this Chanka on this site. If you're relying on it to be your sole form of denial, you're going to have a bad time.
We saw its weakness.
We did. The problem is, and this is actually a site where he is genuinely pretty viable in the game, I think. When you have a fixed location that you want to deny, plants going down, for example, he can be very valuable. But the Ossa turned out to be a real issue for them when it was tried to be used a couple of weeks ago, purely on the basis of you were trying to get these Shumakers right against the east side wall when you just step inside of site itself. But they were bouncing back off the Ossa shield, or they were too high that you just couldn't quite ping it behind the Ossa shield itself to stop it going on. So, it's one of those that I'm looking at here and thinking, okay, it's good if you know exactly where they're trying to plant. And without an Ossa on side, it should be a little bit easier for them and should have some effect. But really, you're still looking towards Thunder playing on that Smoke and potentially the Yokais to really help with the denial this round.
We've got a full top floor clearance coming in from Rogue. Crane and Kantor are going to get themselves established up there on the top floor, hold a few angles, get some verticals, and just try to make sure that Navi are completely back in basement. I see 4 out of 5, but we've got a 5th who's going to just be a little bit rogue at the minute. It's Blur way out in garage, so that's going to tie everybody up, and they are all down on that bottom floor. So Rogue, they need to recognise this and they need to get themselves working. They don't want to let time become another enemy, become a 6th man. Make sure that they use those seconds wisely, and you got to have that confidence. They don't want to hang around too much. You've got them moved, you've got them down on basement. Now get down there. They've moved secretly off stairs as well, so they can now take server. This is pretty good progress. They're getting the hatches open. Rogue once again moving pretty well, but let's remember, even though they did last time, they still ran out of time.
That's the issue, right? The clock. Rips really is their go-to here. He's the one who needs to get downstairs, get on the thermite wall, open it up, and that's going to be done after getting away with this. But what concerns me a bit here, there are no impacts on side, sure, but one well-placed C4 gets rid of that exothermic, and suddenly you're screwed. There's no way to get the walls open. It's going to sting. They've got that Yokai tucked in inside of servers. It's going to be very hard to find, really, for the side of the attackers. And here they come now taking blue 45 seconds after the fact that the mute had already stepped away.
Crane's going to score them a couple of drones back that had been locked up by that mute jammer, so that will be, you will see indeed, Kanto jumping straight onto one, bringing it down and just checking out exactly what is going on with this defense. We're going to have the Shumaka launcher already doing its job, firing over, trying to deny that default plant spot. It's much easier to deny this area with Tachanka than it is the one we saw previously, which was just to the right of that spot, in behind an Ossa shield. Very difficult to lock that down. Thunder, he's going to get that first kill onto Leon, and that is big, but here comes comes the Rogue push. They dive inside of the smoke. Rips is getting the diffuser down. Blur's got no idea. They're able to get the cover. Crying with a double, and that's diffuser locked in. You can see Crying and Deepak just run for their lives. They're in a 2v3, 30 seconds for Navi to do something here.
They're just in the yokai at his feet as well. They must surely know that he's around in this case. Juicing them back up again a little bit here because he's pretty low himself. They've got the vertical angles and they've got to hold this so well. They're going to try and burn out the whole thing to stop Deepak pushing through, but you can run over the smoke is the issue. Crying finding a 3k in the round. It's only going to take a couple more and he'll find himself an ace. Yak on the downstairs. Can't quite find the man. Make it a quad. Can he complete on one more? Crying's going to drop in and go for it here. Sees the man. Can't find the shots. Deepak going to steal away the ace from him. But my God, they really have broken into the vault and got the plant down there, Tim, because from how it looked, that felt like Navi had it under lock and key.
Crying and Deepak did a great job. I just want to... Rips, yes, absolutely, deserves the credit there. Gets himself inside of the smoke. Positioned himself well because Blur burst in, and if he'd have left any part of himself showing outside of that smoke, he'd have taken him down. Blur was cut down by Crying, who was on a great cover there. But Crying and Deepak, as soon as that diffuser goes down, make a great decision, and they just... scatter, get themselves out of server. Upstairs they go, hold down those vertical angles, and that's why you see the Hibana banned. That's why the hatchers are so important on this map. It's going to lead Navi to think, you know what, we ain't going down there again. We're not a glutton for punishment. We don't want any more of that action. We're going to head up to Archives and Tellers in round 3.
What kind of gets me about the last round is we spoke about the Chanker early on, about how it's very good at denying an individual area of land, right? It's a very small area of effect. They were trying to get it onto the thermite wall. So Rogue have two choices. Wait for all the Shumakas to burn out. They can't do that. They haven't got enough time. Or you smoke out and you run deep. You go for that red wall and go for a plant against it, which is what they did. And I thought, okay, they're starting to run in. There's 4 players flooding in through that doorway. Let's see what the smokes do when they start tossing them. And all 3 smokes were gone. I was like, where are the smokes? All of them have been tossed onto main stairs, expecting someone to come pushing down. So whilst these Shumakas were controlling a very small plant area, leaving the rest of the site exposed, smokes are being chucked where no one was pushing down from the side of Rogue. So from Navi, it was kind of hedging a bet that they'd have someone coming down main stairs a little bit later on that never really came to be. I would have really liked to see those smokes saved when you know that there's 3 or 4 players pushing in. You had a yokai inside a service, for God's sake. You could see 4 players there. You knew what was coming, and still you played it wrongly.
It seems like Rogue are coming back with vengeance after losing that first round. They are looking to lock these down. Crying getting the opener. That's his second of the day, this time taking Thunder down. And it was the same man, in fact, in round 1 that he took down. But interestingly, that entry kill went the same way, but the round went to Navi. So let's see if round 3 does the same thing. They're going to be attacking Rogue, this time onto Archives and Tellers. So they really need that top floor control. They want to get Kanto in there with the sledge, get him ripping things up and just prevent the defenders from playing in there at all. We've just had one of the Navi players, it's going to be the Arunia Blur, moving out onto Banana, just moves himself away, has to retreat towards elevators, and they're being pushed around a little bit here on the top floor of Navi.
They are for now, although you won't mind too much, bearing in mind we're at 90 seconds. Oh, Blur was holding the angle but couldn't quite find the man as he came rappelling in. Kanto here, now holding off on towards Banana. They've basically got this top floor control that we're looking for, and Navi are going to have to back themselves away, back down to the first floor, just unable to deal with the pressure that was starting to mount on both sides. I think Kanto might still think someone's inside of elevator. They are long gone at that point as well. And the drone that was just in front of him will have confirmed as much. So with that in mind, now the sledge can get in position, start swinging that hammer onto the floor. Blur lurking inside a basement could yet prove to be troublesome for them as well. And Nath still sat inside this elevator, but I do think it'll get droned.
Certainly will. Nath will likely drop away. He's going to hold himself on the lip of that hatch for the time being, but as soon as the pressure mounts, he'll take a shot or 2 and disappear. Try to rotate around underneath. Secretly, still holding down his position inside of Staff again. He's having to move. It's just this shoot and relocate, leaving only 1 drone alive for Rogue at the minute. Blur, he is in a sneaky spot here. He could have a little cheeky peeky around this corner as the push comes. The yellow ping goes in. He's feeding that information back. There's a perfect crossfire between Blur and Secretly here, and
Deepak.
They are just waiting. But as you say, Deepak, he's on a push here. Might just be able to find his man. He gets 1, does he? Yes, down Secretly. And we also see Yak taken down. Kanto with a team kill. Not ideal. 15 seconds left to go. And Rogue, they are in the final throes of this push now. Can they get themselves inside a site? Right now, Navi, they are sort of holding them at bay. They're holding them off, but it is a last gasp effort effort as Rips. He goes in. He's going to start getting that diffuser down. There is a chance, potentially, is there, for a denial? No. Nath is not able to get in quick enough. That will be secured.
Blur.
He's doing big damage.
He's whiffed it again as well. 2 big chances to get kills, and he missed out. Nate's gone down as well. Cryin finds a 2k. He's up to 7 in the game while his team are barely adding any more. Rogue get another round, and twice in the same round, Blur misses some critical shots with that MK14. He was there in a spot there coming in through open area team where he had a pure line of sight onto the planter and the man covering him and just could not collect either of them. So, I don't want to say it's unfortunate because it's not. You're just not hitting the shots. It's as simple as that.
Unfortunately, that is the top and bottom of it. Sometimes that is the case, and that is what we saw there. Like you say, right from the beginning of the round, essentially, had the opportunity through onto Cryin on top floor, drops away, misses the planter. Oh, very difficult for Navi in the last couple of rounds. We're going to see them move back to open area and staff this time around. It's the side that they won in the first round, so no surprises to see them trying to get this one done again. They managed to frustrate Rogue last time. It came down to the last 15 seconds. We still had Rogue trying to open the wall. Rips is bringing the thermite again along again. They need to make sure that they're getting into position to deal with that quad wall much sooner this time around.
I'll be dead honest with you, Tim, as well. When I looked at Cryin at the start of this year, I thought, is he past it now? He's had a number of chances. We've seen him playing in Tier 2. We saw him on G2. He's just never really found form in the way where he was like one of the best in the league. And I thought, is he still got it in him? Is he really going to be a key player for Rogue this stage, especially moving into entry, such a critical role? But look at him setting up the light on fire here as well. 7-1 in this game. I mentioned earlier on he's top 5 in several categories when you look at EUL in terms of stats across every single team. Here's a bit of a rush coming in there by the looks of it, Tim. Straight in through open area. Kanto's in. One goes down. Second falls straight away. Cryin, though, naturally is the one left standing, at least for a brief second, until secretly takes his head clean off. Leon's got himself inside of sight, though, here, and could look to try and go for a plant, but needs a little bit of cover. Has still got the Evil Eye sat behind him as well. And I'm pretty sure a camera in the back of a chair not going to be all that helpful for you, unfortunately, but they'll know that there is one around Bleepers here. So a 2 versus 3 to pull off, and Tim, there's still 2 minutes 15 to play.
This is an absolutely wild round. Leon just taking the opportunity to take the cam down behind him there, but it looks like it's gone wrong for Rogue Des. It was a roll of the dice. Leon spraying down everywhere that he can, but ultimately it's Thunder who was challenging him on that double door for so long, just threatening to move in there. He will eventually do so, get the kill onto Leon and level things out. 2-2 now.
Yeah, it's a good attempt. If you catch them off guard, you get yourself a free round there. But Navi just a little bit too well prepped. Sure, they got 2 kills. They got rid of the Maestro that was the big issue for them at the end of the round by deciding, you know what, let's remove him early in the round. Let's rush him. Let's put him in the dirt. And sure, that worked. But then you still had the admin control. You had the archives control. You had Bleepers. Still a bit too much working against them there, unfortunately. But for Navi, it's a second round that gives them a small sigh of relief, a small breather as we go back down in towards the basement. And this time around, Tim, there is, well, no smoke or no Chanker on side. That's curious.
It's going to be a very different approach there. Nath does have the Echo again, so they're going to have some plant denial there. But I think maybe Navi feeling potentially like they need to keep hold of the mid-floor a little bit more. The hatches really hurting them last time around. Cryin able to secure 4 kills in the round, a couple of those coming through the hatches. So maybe just looking to try and hold on to that mid-floor a little bit more. They've got the Oryx, for example. They've got Thunder, who's going to be mobile around the map. He's got the dash. He can get around quick point to point and just try and make things difficult, open up his own rotates as we see him doing on the top floor there. So Rogue are going to have to track him down. But the problem that they've got, Navi, here, if they lose Thunder and any other roamers quickly here to Rogue, if Rogue can get in there aggressively and deal with them, they are going to be very, very short-handed down on site with no plant denial left, or very little possibly in the terms of 1 or 2 Yokais, which may well just be spotted out and shot.
And a single C4. That's really all they've got. And this whole comp just screams at me, out in the map, cause trouble, slow Rogue down. Let's make them really starve. So in the final few seconds, they're running onto the end of our barrels, basically. That's what they're gunning for. But obviously it means means you need to get away with this. You saw that cheeky yokai as well, right up on the ceiling inside of the lobby. Going to be hard to spot because it's not normally a place you'd look for a camera. You know, not even the yokai. Most times you'd be looking around for the black eyes instead, but not quite to be found. I think Kanto may have just seen it out of the corner of his eye. It did drop from the ceiling and is now going to retreat back towards site. So just giving them the heads up more than anything else. Okay, there's one guy inside a lobby, and that's all you really need to worry about for now.
Smart play from Nath, not over-committing on that yokai drone, given how important they are going to be. We've got a pre-place. Nitro! Kanto's going to get away with that one. Takes the first swing and backs out rather than pushing on. Crying, we've seen him using that angle a couple of times. And Nath, I think, maybe just, I've got to call it, getting a little bit over-aggressive there, going up main stairs with their only plant denial operator, realistically, with the Echo, the Nitro having been used. So that is it now. If Rogue get in and have an opportunity to put this diffuser down, it's likely to be successful.
The only thing they've really got left is 2 impacts, and that's not really the most reliable plant denial. They do 60 damage each. Sure, you can chip away at the planter, but is it going to be enough to win you the round? No. Most likely not. So they've really got to pull off a miracle here because their roam strategy has fallen apart. They're all pulling the way back down towards site, so there is work to do. Blur, once again, though, is sat watching Garage, expecting a late round rotate. This is why you often see a nut band away, is because you can get past bulletproofs and just creep your way at Garage and, well, shoot him in the backside. Basically win your team the round single-handedly. Crying's aware roughly of what's going on the main stairs. Has got a laser gate to push his way through, unfortunately, here before he can carry on.
Not the end of the world.
Oh, he's going to match against Blur now.
He's going to shoot out the lawn office window and he's heading straight down to Garage. Can Blur hit his shots? He's going to get another opportunity. We saw this matchup previously and Blur was unable to come out on top, but there could be a real opportunity, as you say. No idea whatsoever. Blur sees him. He's going to track him round the back of the car. He's just waiting for his crystal clear opportunity, but you can't always wait too long. He sees the back of his head just through the advantage of silhouettes, making things easy for us. Blur not sure which way he's heading, but he picks up Crying. Leon, however, in the meantime picks up Thunder, and we see Rips able to move in and start thinking about getting that diffuser down. Leon challenges onto Blur from the bottom of main stairs, but it's all up to Secretly. He's on a big flank here. He's going to drop down. 10 seconds left to go, but shut down easily by Deepak. Surely Rogue have got to be able to get this diffuser down. Rips is sticking it. Blur, he's got to make something happen. He's coming in from the Garage, shut down by a Leon spray down, and that's going to be Rogue taking round number 5, back in the lead, 3-2.
It's just mad how you go from 1 second watching this initial engagement happening inside a Garage to suddenly there being 4 players of Rogue on site. They're in lockers, they're getting the diffuser down, and NAVI are then kind of left scrambling to try and retake a site that they should have had control of, really, from start to finish, given Blur has got the Garage cover. But they're just constantly fighting against this pressure coming in from Rogue, and when you look at it on its fundamental level, for the most part, NAVI just aren't winning the gunfights against these aggressive members of Rogue. They aren't shutting them down on the aggressive press in. They aren't getting the trades in there. Rogue are just flat out overpowering them right now. And you can look down the scoreboard for the side of NAVI. Secretly's on 1 kill. Nate's on none. Thunder's only got a couple. They're really struggling to make an impact in this game. And on the other side, again, it's that man of the moment, Crying, who's really shining.
It is. It's a real battle between the top players here, essentially. It's almost a 2v2 in some ways. But NAVI, for me, I think they're a little bit lucky to only be 1 round behind, because, as you say, overall, it feels like Rogue has been a bit more of a machine here, just coming in and really churning them up and making their lives a little bit of a misery. We're going to head into round 6. It'll be action phase kicking off soon, and I'm interested to see back on the Lockers site what NAVI do. It's looking like a very similar setup. They've got no real denial down there other than Nath. Thunder's out on the Vigil this time instead of the Oryx. Obviously feels like he was maybe tracked down a little bit too easily last time around, so going to try and keep himself off the radar a little bit, but they've got to do something different here to NAVI.
They've got the Vigil, they've got the Kaid, so now they're playing for Denali. There's basically been 3 different lineups for this site that they've now rotated their way through. If it's broke, change it / fix it. That seems to be the go-to approach, but it just kind of begs the question of, have they put this together very much? Have they practiced this a number of times? Or is it just kind of it's not going particularly well, so let's try something different? Tim, we're at 2 minutes and 20. They've already got the thermite wall opened up on the downstairs. These yokais that were both stationed on the top floor now need to move their way back down, and NAVI members have got to fall back to site because Rogue might just be about to smash them in the face and push straight into site.
Exactly this. NAVI are going to be very keen to lock down this round. Our wonderful analyst Fresh has just sent me a few little details over about that castle ban, particularly that it's heavily used by Rogue. And there's a real likelihood here that Navi are banking on getting 3 defensive rounds and then just coming in and having success on attack, with Rogue unable to use those castle strats that they would normally. Now then, Nitro comes out. It's going to be as easy as that. Yak taking down Leon, and that is a great start inside of the round for Navi. Rogue just looking to take themselves an opportunity to get that diffuser down quickly, but it fails, and it fails miserably there as it's left down in no man's land. They've lost the Ursa shield, they've lost the Ursa, so now what do you do? It's time for probably about plan D, to be honest.
Smokes. Same as they've used in the last attacks. They've got a Ying on side as well. They've got so many tools still to play with here that the Ursa was kind of if we can make it work and we'll nick this one, then yeah, who's complaining? First smoke comes out here inside of the site. They still need to be recovering things here. Candela's come through as well. 2 smokes are deployed down, and that Yokai is still in position. I think Secretly's waiting for a swing, and Blur. Oh, Blur, you cheeky boy. He's waiting to get himself down those blue stairs as well. Might get flanked from upstairs, but Kanto gets in and finds the one. Blur's going to make his moves to watch the kill feed for him as well. Rip's going in for the plant. A bit of a fight going inside of Orange here as the first Yokai comes out with 60 seconds still to play. They get ready for the next swing. Thunder winning one before Deepek gets the trade coming in. Another Yokai blast comes in. Now that Blur's been dealt with, it's Nathan Yat left alone to try and stop this one coming out. They won't be able to do so as Rips gets yet another plant.
3 in the game so far. Rips and Kanto get those final kills, and that is going to be 3 rounds won where the diffuser went down and 1 where it did not for Rogue, leaving them now 4-2 at the half. And I come back to Fresh's point earlier, the likelihood of that castle ban being aimed towards the Rogue defences here on Bank, but they've got themselves the advantage on the attack. They've got that 4-2, so that's a little bit of a comfort for them at least. And the thing is, it's always a little bit of a gamble like that, because Rogue may well be well versed in playing without the castle. We're about to find out, as are Navi, but if they come in here and that castle ban doesn't have the effect that Navi are hoping, then they could be in some serious trouble here.
And look straight away at the change coming in. Not so much a change, but a difference. Is Deepek coming along on that Warden. Now, for the longest time, you just wouldn't see Warden. Many were just like, why would you play Warden when you can play Smoke and bring a shield, for example, and you do much the same thing? Well, in the current meta, because of attacker repick, things like Ying can get 6 picked in. We've already seen today, think back to Oregon, think on this map in the first half as well. Smoke plants being used... what's the word? Excessively. Pretty much every single round involved a smoke of some kind. So a Warden, assuming you can get yourself in a pretty safe spot, which is what a shield can offer you, can be really, really valuable. Now, whether or not they play him on the blue stairs and just try and deal with the pressure that comes in is one thing, but watching out for Nath and those smoke bolts coming out from the Kappa Tower is another.
I was going to say, almost certainly for me, I think we see Deepek. Given that he's got the shotgun, I think we're going to just see him absolutely locked into blue stairs. He's put his shield down there. He's going to, for the time being, just prevent any potential rush coming through that dirt tunnel. But Warden is great for holding down those blue stairs, because you're just going to get a hail of utility coming in at you. And if you can just flick the glasses on, wipe out the effects of the flashbangs and continue to challenge on with that shotgun, you really can get some joy, and we've seen it time after time.
Thing is, no smashes. Oh my God.
Come on,
no flashes. Smokes and flashes together gave smashes. I don't know where that came from. There's no flashes on side for them to play behind here. There's no Ying. There's nothing really to attack into him. They've got the smoke, sure, but that's not part of their concern. And Kanto going to pick himself up a freebie onto Thunder and back himself away. Kanto hits the deck, because I believe he got shut out by Secretly, who looked in through Printer, but he should get himself res back up here. Rogue keep all 5 alive, and they've got rid of the Iana. 2 of those nades disappearing into the nether.
That's great. Deepek's going to be more than happy about that. Just a little bit less thrown utility to come his way. That is basically now 2 nades to clear out the top of blue stairs. And look what there is. There's 2 ADSs there. So you're going to struggle. It's not going to be easy. They've got, of course, Nathan on the Capitao as well, who can potentially do something about that position, but it's a difficult angle to find around the corner to really impact, because all that Deepek's going to do is just drop himself a little bit further down the stairs. If you start putting asphyxiating bolts in, he's going to have none of it. He'll just drop halfway down and wait for you to challenge in anyway. It's not a problem for him, so you've really got to be able to get them in behind him, really. So this is going to take a very coordinated push from Navi to move Deepek off these blue stairs.
Yeah, they won't be able to do it for the most part. I think they might just have to ignore him for the most part. If they're going to, they're going to have to lose a man or two, invest them in trying to make that push. But can you do that? You know,
where'd you plan?
You're already in a 4 versus 5. You're a little bit stuck. Like, sure, you can try and make a play on him if you so choose by pushing out the bottom side as well as the top, which probably will be the play that they go for here. You know, in this spot, Warden is expected to die. You will get pushed from both sides. They'll drop behind you and try and push into you. They'll push the top at the same time. It's all about selection on timing, and they choose right. They go lower. No one's there to help provide the cover, as we're very used to seeing, and Deepak goes down for free.
Difficult position for Deepak there, but it's just so easy for NAVI to get in and do that, and you're really hoping for Rogue that was going to be more of a sticking point, but no. 4 versus 4, access to the plant spot potentially, Hatcher's in their control. This might not be the end of the world for NAVI, but Kanto finds a long-range shot onto Blur, taking him down with a headshot all the way from the bottom of main stairs, hitting through those soft walls. Secretly manages to find Leon 3v3. The drop comes in. Secretly he's going to go for the plant here, but Crying finds one. Can he find any more? Kanto's looking to push in. They know that plant's going down. There you go. Final kills come in, and Rogue, with Castle or without, they manage to hold on to a defence on Bang.
Well, who would have thought that a smoke would be pretty good for that site? It's just that, again, that larger area of effect versus a Chanka just stops you pushing through. Unless you're going to charge all the way through, it's going to be an absolute nightmare. You're going to have a bad time. But it was Crying with that closing shot onto the planter that really saw the round come out for them there, with Secretly being the one going down. Rogue in commanding position. 5-2. NAVI, it feels, are struggling to get anything. They couldn't hold back Rogue on the defence. They can't break through them on the attack either, it seems. And yeah, it's looking like this could be a pretty quick game if this carries on, Tim.
Certainly it could be. You were going to see open area, another site rather, where Rogue have played Castle previously. So again, watch out for that having a potential impact, as the defence has to switch around a little bit from what might be considered their sort of default setup for this site. But we're going to see... Yes, the mute jammer goes down, so that'll tell us that all 4 panels of the quad wall are going to be reinforced. I wouldn't really expect any less, but we have seen 1 or 2 left soft in recent weeks, particularly when a mirror is in play, which is not the case here. So, going to be sealed off completely. We've got the Maestro being brought along by Rips. I think after how much he suffered to it in round 1, he's thought, right, I'm going to have a piece of that.
It's also the strength of it on this site itself, I think. The one inside of the staff room that just sees all the way through to square, up towards blue. It's just beautiful. And if you ignore it and don't clear it, it can ruin your whole day. Quite literally, you're trying to plant, it's zapping you in the back. You need to have cover from someone. It can just be an absolute nuisance. Not forgetting, of course, that it makes your smokes mostly useless. So even if Nath tries to smoke out the crossing and step across, he's still going to get himself zapped on the way through. But the big difference in this round really is going to be the Ying also coming in alongside the smokes of that Monty. So just like we saw before, you have the kind of 2 options. It's not just the Ossa, there's also the Ying on side that we saw for Rogue before. They had 2 options to play behind. It's much the same story here. And that's a real pain, because you've now just lost your soft destruction. Your nades are gone, your sledge is gone. Ouch.
I just want to... that's a nice juncture. Just before Kanto got that kill, I was just having a look at his stats for the game, and there was a point that I wanted to make, and he's just doubled down on it there. And we've been a little bit critical of Kanto over the couple of Playdays, saying, you know, he was a bit over-aggressive on the entry. He was committing himself sometimes into gunfights that he didn't need to. We were seeing him lose his life without picking up kills. Look at him now, 6-3. He's only got 3 deaths so far in 8 rounds. Great survivability from Kanto, wasting time, picking up kills as well, getting entries. A really, really good game from him.
No, you're absolutely right. Remember back on Skyscraper at the start of the stage, the big criticism against him was too aggressive, overstaying his welcome and paying the price for it. Whereas now, like you say, he's kind of getting himself a drone and then dropping away, not overstaying and looking for more, looking for seconds or afters, as you'd say, Tim. Nath might be looking for some of his own, though. 1 kill going across the Deepak, and the Monty is in so much trouble here. I think he might have gone a bit too far by himself, because he's almost not far off losing this fight. They've got the shells to play behind, and sure enough, there goes the Monty and everybody else. That's just questionable, is all I can say.
The thing is, you could have looked at that situation and thought, Ish, you've just said that Kanto's not getting over-aggressive, he's not overstaying his welcome, what's he doing here? But it was absolutely essential what he was doing. It was perfect. He was just completely holding that Monty up. He made his life a misery, made it so he just could not play the game that he wanted to play. And again, Kanto committing to that was right place, right time. And that's what...
Pretty much isolated it on his own there and picked off for free.
Going to be heading up to the top floor for round
First time.
9, and it could well be, as you said, the first time. It could be the last time, Des, because if Rogue win this one, it's map and match point. They're going to take all 3 points, and NAVI just never really getting started so far. And after a 0-2, oh no, LFO won, didn't they? 1-1 on predictions so far for both of us, I think.
I got LFO right. I got the first game wrong.
As did I.
There you go.
How do they build that synergy? Well, I predicted Rogue for this one, so I'm looking...
Oh, weird. That's weird. That me too.
Imagine that.
How do they build that synergy?
How do they do that? So, going to be heading into round number 9 then. Action phase is coming right up. CEO hold, so we're going to see probably everybody sticking around on the top floor mostly. You're not going to see too much of a presence underneath from the defenders. Rogue just going to try to keep the top locked down. Cryan drops away. He's just placing cams. We'll likely see him move back up. There's not too much that can be done underneath. It's going to be a rotation, maybe one out into main lobby. Just try and challenge those areas, but nothing too committal.
I just love the Kanto throwback.
Rolling back the years.
Oh, the years are disappearing, mate. If only they would disappear off my wrinkles on my face as well. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Hopefully he can do some work in this round. We've been already singing his praises a number of times throughout this game. Hopefully, playing on an operator like this, you can do even more, because of course with the scope still coming back, sure, it's not quite an ACOG, but you'll take it either way. He juices himself up playing around Kanto spot and does some damage with it. That would be absolutely beautiful. Now, we did see this Twitch drone come out. I believe it was SI. I want to say it was Wildcard who first made use of it. You can zap away these gadgets from distance. They can't stop you from doing it, and the wall can get opened up. It removes the whole nade minigame that you often have trying to land the right one. Don't try and zap it just yet. It's not placed yet. Now you've got no charge. Have you got a charge? I hope he's got a charge.
I don't think he's got a charge.
Else he's just whiffed that. Like, that's a bit early. It wasn't yet a physical object on the map.
I mean, it does some of the damage that's needed. The Selma charge opening up a line of sight, at least. That's what you're looking for. It's going to make it a little bit more difficult to play in and around elevators, but it's certainly not what NAVI necessarily would have been looking for as an ideal. So they're going to have the opportunity, Rogue, here to maybe still just play a little bit passively in and around that elevator. Cryan just holding himself at the top of main stairs. Kanto hasn't been moved yet. Minute and a half in. Oh, he's going to challenge onto the man on repair.
Oh, too easy.
Couple of quick kills. Kanto will hit those all day long.
Juice.
Leon he manages to get himself one, but immediately traded out. That's going to be Yak and Blur down. Lion and Twitch out of it.
He's already gone as well. They were trying to nade Kanto out where he got that kill, but he'd already moved again, just commending him for the things that are getting better. Him taking these fights, getting a kill, getting a drone, and then moving away is ensuring that he's not being traded out of these entries. Beautiful stuff so far. I say that as he eats a nade from Nath, but out goes the window, goes deep back, gets the trade back, and he's going to head his way in towards the sewers like the rat he is.
That's it. There's nothing wrong with Kanto losing his life at that point because his job has been done. 2 players now moving through the smoke, but there's a wall as well. Don't worry. It's not that they're being missed. Thunder, he's going to try to challenge onto main stairs, manages to scare the man away, at least for the time being. Secretly moves deep into sight here. No real challenge for him, but it's going to be Deepek who's likely to pick him up. He's got those walls opened up. He's getting the red pings. There's information here, potentially. Secretly, just able to run around at will almost.
Jail, look at it. He's being bullied from every which angle. They basically locked him in like a wild animal at throwing C4s at him. Bullets are coming from everywhere. No matter where he looks, he's being kept down. They've got the zookeepers out here on either side waiting for him to come through square. It's an easy swing out for Deepek, who gets the close down. Wonderful game by Rogue, looking very dominant here on Bank, and their strong season continues.
Honestly, it looked easy for them. I think the castle ban had such little impact on that defence. They were just absolutely dominant. Kanto with the standout performance for me, but Cryan, of course, MVP, deserves a mention as well. Fantastic on the entry game. Rogue, they were ticking every box for me tonight.
They were. I think across the board as well. Really good performances, you know.